Hey everyone, today I'm going to be ranking the Hunger Games movies. Now, for context, I have read the first 3 books, but I've not read the new one. I have not read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. As always, spoiler alert. Starting off, number 5 is Mockingjay Part 1. As far as YA dystopian future goes, The Hunger Games is definitely better than most. But what sets it apart is the games themselves. My biggest problem with Mockingjay, the book and the movies, is that it's the Hunger Games without the Hunger Games. It's just another YA rebellion story. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good YA rebellion story, but it's just that. That being said, there's still plenty of good stuff here. The acting is all solid, the action we get is pretty good, the music is dope as usual, it's all shot and edited well. We get more character progression from everybody. And I like that not everything goes according to plan. Unlike some other YA fiction, not everything works in the protagonist's favor. Not everything works out the way they hope. They get Peeta back, but he's clearly been fucked up, and they may or may not have been allowed to rescue him. And I love that between this movie and Part 2, we can see that Katniss, unlike Jennifer Lawrence, Katniss is not an actress. She cannot do, line delivery and shit.
Okay, Katniss, we're going to start you down on one knee.
Okay.
And as you rise up, you're going to hold your flag in the air and deliver your line. And remember, you've just stormed the outskirts of the Capitol, arm in arm with your brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
People of Panem, we fight, we dare, we...
Does she know the line?
I know it.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
sorry.
let's do it
She's
again.
warming up.
Okay, all right.
But when it's actually something she believes, then she is, genuinely passionate.
I have a message for President Snow. You can torture us and bomb us and burn our districts to the ground. But do you see that? Fire is catching. And if we burn, you burn with us.
It's a nice little detail. One change I'm not a fan of is that in the books, Katniss and Gale switch from using bows and crossbows to just using guns, and they're able to do that reasonably well. Which makes sense considering they're fighting, enemies with guns and airships and shit. Here, they're still using a bow and a crossbow, they just have more powerful arrows and stuff, which, okay, maybe, but especially on the bow, even a compound bow, you've still got a limited range on that, and I don't know, it just feels less realistic, or less believable anyway. The score is 3 out of 5. Number 4 is Mockingjay Part 2. Everything I said about Part 1 applies here, good and bad. The reason I have Part 2 ranked higher is that more stuff actually happens. There's more action, more suspense, more character interactions. It's the Part 2, so there's less setup and more building. I like the reveal that President Coin is ultimately no better than Snow, and Katniss realizing that she might actually be worse.
I wanted to tell you how very sorry I am about your sister. So wasteful. So unnecessary. Anyone could see the game was over by that point. In fact, I was just about to issue an official surrender when they released those parachutes.
You released those parachutes.
You really think I gave the order? We both know I'm not above killing children, but I'm not wasteful. I take life for specific reasons, and there was no reason for me to destroy a pen full of capital children. None at all. I must concede it was a masterful move on Coin's part. The idea that I was bombing our own helpless children to hold back the rebels, it turned the last of my guards against me. There was no resistance left inside the Capitol or the mansion. Do you know it aired live? There's a particular savvy in that, isn't there? I'm sure she wasn't gunning for your sister, but these things happen in war.
I also like the romance in these movies. The love triangle actually works, because it's not just about Katniss picking between two guys, it's about her choosing what kind of life she wants. Gale represents the past, the life she currently has. It's dangerous, and it involves living under a fascist government, but it's also the only life she's ever known. Peeta represents the future, and a potentially good thing, potentially worth fighting for. That's less apparent in the movies than in the books, but it's still pretty apparent in the movies. That's what shit like Divergent and other knockoffs, that's what they don't get. The romance there doesn't have any deeper meaning beyond what fans project onto it. Or if there is deeper meaning there, they don't do a very good job of communicating it. The score is 3 out of 5. Number 3 is The Hunger Games. This is the only one not directed by Francis Lawrence, and it feels pretty different as a result. It comes to us from Gary Ross, who also directed Pleasantville, Seabiscuit, Free State of Jones, and Ocean's 8. And as a result, it feels pretty different. It doesn't feel completely disconnected, but it feels just different enough. District 12 has a different look to it. The film itself has a different style to it. There are certain elements that are changed because the sequels tried to be more faithful to the books, like what color the cat is. The acting in this movie is really damn good. Obviously the leads are solid, but the supporting players are the standouts. Woody Harrelson and Elizabeth Banks are both giving it their all, and Stanley Tucci and Toby Jones are arguably the best part of the movie. Also, fun fact, Clove is played by the girl from Orphan. My biggest problem with this movie is the shaky cam during the final fight. The shaky cam works during the start of the games because it helps convey the confusion and chaos and disorientation. But once we get to the climax, it hurts more than it helps. The score is 3.5 out of 5. Number 2 is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Fun fact, the first time I watched this movie, it was because I was scrolling through Twitter, and I came across a thread of quote tweets with everybody going, "Show me someone singing like the rent is due," with a clip that fit that description, and one of them was Lucy Gray singing as the snakes close in on her. And I was like, I should watch that movie. And I did.
When nothing is left anymore, I'll bring the news when I've danced off my shoes, when my body's closed down, when my boat's run aground, when I've tallied the score and I'm flat on the floor, right here in the old there before, when nothing is left anymore. When I'm pure like a dove, when I've learned how to love, right here in the old there before, when nothing is left anymore.
I think Rachel Ziegler herself has pointed this out, but one reason this movie kind of works without feeling like a complete retread is that Lucy Gray is basically the opposite of Katniss. Katniss is a fighter who is forced to perform, and Lucy Gray is a performer who is forced to fight. This is the only book in the series that I haven't read, but apparently Coriolanus Snow is much less sympathetic there than he is here. In the movie, there are moments where you actually forget it's a village and origin story. You can tell he's at the top of that slope, but, you know, there are moments where you sympathize with him. Apparently, unlike in the book, there's actually a sense that his feelings for Lucy Gray are legitimate. Tom Blythe does a great job of feeling like a younger version of Donald Sutherland. Kind of like Alden Ehrenreich in Solo, where it doesn't quite look like him, doesn't quite sound like him, but he feels like him. Rachel Zegler is given it 100%. Peter Dinklage, Hunter Schafer, Jason Schwartzman, and Josh Andres Smith are all solid. I love that we get the build-up to the games, and then the games, and then we get the aftermath. I love that we get everything all in one here. It's kind of long, but it's worth it. I also like that the build-up to the reveal that Jessup has rabies. I didn't even catch it at first. I just thought, like, I don't know, something's fucking with his head. And then it was like, oh no, it's that bat bite. It's like, oh shit. That was... That was well done. My score is 3.5 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Catching Fire. Much like Ballad, this movie works because it's about the events surrounding the games just as much as the games themselves. It takes over an hour to get to the actual games, but the movie keeps you invested. We get to see Katniss dealing with PTSD from the events of the first movie, and by my admittedly limited understanding, it's a pretty accurate representation. We get to see all these tributes who have fought before. They know more or less what to expect. This movie is such an improvement on the first one. The cinematography and editing are better. They got Francis Lawrence for this one, and I can see why they kept him around for the rest of the franchise. At least so far. I don't know if they're going to do any more, but so far he has done 4 of the 5 movies. Once again, the cast here is just solid across the board. You have Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson, who are great. Liam Hemsworth is solid. Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, Donald Sutherland, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Stanley Tucci, and Toby Jones are, again, highlights. Jeffrey Wright, Sam Claflin, Jenna Malone. Jenna Malone was, for her limited screen time, she made it count.
These tributes are crazy.
No, not all of them. He's a good guy. Carry on.
You guys look amazing.
Thank you.
My stylist is such an idiot. District 7, lumber, trees. Oh, I'd love to put my axe in her face. So what do you think? Now that the whole world wants to sleep with you.
I don't think that the whole
I wasn't
world...
talking to you.
Okay.
You want zip?
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's do it again sometime.
Thank you. Joanna Mason, District 7.
Also, I never realized this until just now, but Wyrus is Honey Bunny from Pulp Fiction. I don't know, I just found that interesting. My score is 4 out of 5. Hey everyone, what's your ranking? Let me know down in the comments. If you don't like the video, tell me why, try to be constructive. Then subscribe anyway, so you'll be notified when I upload a new video and you can tell me why that one sucks. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times, and may the odds be ever in your favor.